Tell me, how did you find America?
Turn left to Greenland.
People try to put us to down, talking about my generation, just because we get around. Talking about my generation, things ain't do look awful. Talking about my generation, I hope I die before I get old.
Welcome to another edition of Talking About My Generation. I'm David Gross, and this is CygnusRadio.com. Today, we've got an interesting show. I've brought along a friend of mine, Tom Semioli, who is the co-founder of KnowYourBassPlayer.com. And we're going to talk about the bass players of Eric Clapton. Should be a good show. Hope you enjoy it. And here's Tom.
We have to start with Paul Samwell-Smith, the Yardbirds. Such an influential bass player. Again, if you talk to folks like Kenny Aronson and Sal Maida and Mark Pollard and Joe Gagliardo, this is the guy they first heard because the Yardbirds made such an impact.
Yeah.
You know, as you know, I was a little bit too young, but there was the Beatles and Stones camps, right? The girls like the Beatles, the guys like the Stones. Well, coming along with the Stones, of course, were the Animals and the Yardbirds. And of course, Clapton with the Yardbirds. That's where it begins, really.
Yeah, and if you think about it, that first Yardbirds album in America, For Your Love,
right,
didn't even have who played on it.
Right, of course, didn't know, no record credits in those days.
So no one knew who it was. And then, of course, you know, as time went on, what was it, Clapton? Was it Jeff Beck? Because there was that moment when Rave Up came out and you saw Jeff Beck on the cover.
Right.
Yeah.
And then there were differences, obviously, between the American and the UK versions. They changed covers. And, you know, it's like the Beatles and the Stones in the early days. They didn't release the same records. They released different records for American markets. So we had no idea.
Right.
But, you know, Paul Samwell-Smith, another guy, I think he's the guy with the Epiphone bass. But
a Rivoli, right? A Rivoli?
A Rivoli, I believe so. And just a great pocket and riff player. And, you know, he was kind of up in the mix. So if you're a bass player trying to figure out the riffs,
it was easy.
You could hear.
Yeah. And, you know, another thing about that band, Jim McCarty.
Yes.
No one really gave him much shrift in terms of his drumming. You know, immediately when Page left the Yardbirds, it was, John Bonham, rightfully so. But if you remember, McCarty was with Renaissance.
Yes.
And some great drumming on those records, Kings and...
Mm-hmm. You know, well, McCarty is still out there with the Yardbirds, and they've got a great lineup. Godfrey Townsend is in the Yardbirds, and of course, Kenny Aronson is absolutely tearing it up with the Yardbirds.
He's perfect for that.
Well, yeah, he certainly is.
He really is. So, let's continue on. I think we're going to play Smokestack Lightning, right?
Absolutely.
Great.
Don't Jimmy Collins.
So let's chat about Jack Bruce. Oh, there are so many things you can say about Jack Bruce.
What can't we say about Jack Bruce? But, you know...
What shouldn't I say about Jack Bruce? Everyone thinks of Cream as being the big to-do.
Right.
But he did a lot of work with Carla Bley, Mike Mantler in the 70s. But why don't we talk about Powerhouse, the first, I guess,
that's right.
Clapton and Jack got together.
Right, but that was an ad hoc group, I understand. That really, I think that wasn't Steve Winwood in there?
He may have been, yeah.
Yeah, under a pseudonym. Yeah, they just did 3 tracks. Joe Boyd recorded them. And of course, that was very short-lived. I mean, and Clapton and Bruce go on to form Cream. Now, of course, we could speak volumes about Jack, but what is interesting with regard to Eric Clapton is folks don't appreciate what a great song player Jack Bruce was. In addition to being a soloist, he was such a great accompanist. And of course, one of the great Jack Bruce lines, of course, is Badge.
Right.
That beautiful melody. But even if you listen to him on Strange Brew and Outside Woman Blues, 2 tracks with Clapton sings lead on, he is just the consummate song player.
Yeah. And I think a lot of his skills came from the fact that he was a cellist.
Yes, absolutely. Classically trained, sure.
There is a movie, and I don't know if it's a Cream movie or a Jack Bruce biography of Jack talking about, the ultimate Cream song, Sunshine of Your Love.
Right.
And he wrote it literally at 6 a.m. on an upright bass. He was with Pete Brown. He looked out the window and said, "It's getting near dawn." Serious. Well, that's the story he tells. Wow. Whether it's true or not, we'll never know, right?
Yeah.
But let's play a couple of tracks by Jack.
Oh, yeah.
Let's do "Steppin' Out" by the Powerhouse, which also was on the John Mayall Blues Breakers record.
Yes. Yep.
And then we'll do, as you say, Cream's Badge.
Oh, yeah, with George.
told you not to wander around in the dark. I told you about the swans that they live in the park. Then I told you about our kid, now he's married to Mabel. Yes, I told you that the light goes up and down. Don't you notice how the wheel goes round? And you'd better pick yourself up from the ground before they bring the curtain down. Yes, before they bring the curtain down. Talking about a girl that looks quite like you. She didn't have the time to wait for you. She cried away her life since she fell off the cradle.
This is a little more difficult. Rick Gretsch.
Rick
bassist,
Gretsch, right. Rick Gretsch.
violinist.
Right, right. Now, Gretsch, obviously, a great history with Family, with Traffic, Mike Bloomfield, KGB Band, which I was fortunate enough to see, and of course with Graham Parsons. So another unsung bass player in the history of rock and roll, but he's like a Zelig. He's everywhere. And of course, Blind Faith with Eric, the first supergroup, I guess. And to me, his consummate track is Well, All Right. That's my favorite bass track on that record. And he's a Fender Jazz guy with a wad of foam.
Well, all right, sir, I've been foolish. Well, all right, let me go now. Got the dreams and wishes that you dream.
got Keith Richards to deal with.
Oh, we've got to. Yeah, we don't want to upset Keith Richards. Well, Dirty Mac was a one-off, right, from the Rock and Roll Circus, and that was your blues, where Keith is just laying in the pocket. He's got a nice Fender P bass there with him, and of course, that's the only thing those guys ever did. I only think they did that one track. Yes.
I agree with you. As a matter of fact, when Lennon took that band out, it brought up our next artist, who is, yes, an artist as well as a bassist, is Klaus Voormann.
Klaus Voormann. Now, Klaus, a Wadafoam guy as well. And that was the Plastic Ono band. I think that version was pretty much a one-off, the live piece in Toronto.
Correct.
Yeah, I don't think they did anything. I think John's other Plastic Ono band stuff was just a trio, as a matter. It was just Ringo and him and Klaus in the studio on Plastic Ono Band. I think the singles, what was it, Instant Karma and stuff, were the same thing. So Clapton never went in the studio with them. But that was supposed to be a band, right? That was probably...
Yeah, they were saying, because Blind Faith, of course, had broken up. And the Dominoes hadn't started as yet.
Yes, right.
And everyone was enjoying their substance abuse period.
Yeah.
So, well, why don't we play a couple of songs? We'll play Your Blues, and we'll play, you know what? There's 20 minutes on YouTube of the live in Toronto.
Yes.
And I have not cut it up yet. So I'll wait to see which tune or tunes.
You know, they do Dizzy Miss Lizzie. They do a pretty decent job of that. They do a very good job of Cold Turkey.
Okay.
Which I think Klaus...
How appropriate.
Yeah, exactly. So you can hear Klaus on that one. It's ramshackle. I mean, they really, they rehearsed on a plane. They never did a proper rehearsal.
I'm lonely, wanna die. Yes, I'm lonely, wanna die. If I ain't dead already, girl, you know the reason why. In the morning, wanna die. In the evening, wanna die. If I ain't dead already, girl, you know the reason why. My mother was of the sky, my father was of the earth, but I am of the universe, and you know what it's worth. I'm lonely, wanna die. If I ain't dead already, girl, you know the reason why. The eagle picks my eye, the worm, he licks my bone. Feels so suicidal, just like Dylan's Mr. Jones. I'm lonely, wanna die. If I ain't dead already, girl, you know the reason why. Black cloud crossed my mind, blue mist round my soul. Feel so suicidal, even hate my rock and roll. I'm lonely, wanna die. If I ain't dead already, woo, girl, you know the reason why. when you rock and roll. Make me dig you lazy when you do the snow. Come on, Miss Lizzie, love me till I go too old. Come on, give me fever, put your little hand in mine. Woo, baby, girl, you look so fine. Come on, come on, come on, come on, Lizzie, I wanna be your loving man. When you rock and roll, lady, when you do the snow, come on, Miss Lizzie, love me before I grow too old.
So now we're into one of Clapton's favorite bass players. As a matter of fact, he was probably the only bass player they didn't argue with. And obviously, which is why he was with him for so long. Why don't you tell us a little about Carl?
Well, Carl, obviously we know Carl started off with Jerry and what was Jerry Lewis's son's band there? Gary
Lewis and the Playboys.
Gary Lewis, that's right. Gary Lewis and the
Ring.
Right. And then, of course, he's part of Leon Russell's Oklahoma Posse with Jamie Oldacre and those guys. And they become Delaney and Bonnie's backup band.
Correct.
And obviously, Clapton appropriates them for his band. And, you got to talk about Carl Radle. He's such a rhythm and blues guy, such a good melodic.
From the old days, yeah.
Yeah, all those disciples of Jamerson, right? All those James Jamerson disciples. As I say, I did a piece for Huffington Post, rock and roll bass players who deserve entry in the Hall of Fame. Carl Radle absolutely should be in the sideman, the excellence category. And you'll agree with this. If you play an Eric Clapton song on the bandstand and you don't approximate Carl Radle's lines, the song sounds wrong.
Without a doubt.
Yes.
Without a doubt.
Yes.
So let's start out with Delaney and Bonnie. What do you think we should play?
Oh gosh, there's that's a tough one. Maybe Got to Get It Together. We'll have to look at. There's so many good things with Delaney and Bonnie. I think that one probably is the one to play. With Derek, I think obviously Bell Bottom Blues and Keep on Growing. Man, those grooves are just monster grooves. Great melodic lines, and you'll notice with every bass player that followed Carl in Eric's bands, notably, especially Nathan East, they all play Carl's lines. You can't screw it up.
Yeah, that's for sure. And then I was thinking, Mother
Oh, Motherless Child, right from 461 Ocean Boulevard. What great grooves. You know, Carl was also Eric's musical director in a way. I think he did help him choose songs. Obviously, he put the band together, that whole Oklahoma posse. So Carl played a major role. Again, sadly, he had substance abuse problems.
Come on, everybody. Come on, everybody. Hey, hey, hey. You can bring joy. I never had. I'm gonna be right here, long as it lasts, and that's why things get better, baby, when I'm with you, yeah. Things get better, baby, when I'm with you, yeah. I can be lonely when you can't be found, but I'm not lonely, baby, baby. You're always around, and that's why things get better, baby, when I'm with you, yeah. Things get better, baby, when I'm with you, yeah. Never in doubt about you. I know that you're mine. I can't lose this feeling. You stay on my mind, and that's why things get better, baby, when I'm with you, yeah. Things got to get better, baby, when I'm with you, yeah. Things got to get better when I'm with you, yeah, yeah. Got to get a little better when I'm with you, yeah. Get a little
falling through the mist of sorrow that surrounds
If I give my love to you, you surely give it back. Let it rain, let it rain. Let your love rain down on me. Let it rain, let it rain. Let it rain, rain, rain. Let it rain, let it rain. Let your love rain down on me. Let it rain, let it rain. Let it rain, rain, rain. sheriff, but I didn't shoot the deputy. say they want to bring me in guilty for the killing of a deputy, for the life of a deputy. But I say, I shot the sheriff, but I swear it was in self-defense. I shot the sheriff, and they say it is a capital offense. Sheriff John Brown always hated me for what I don't know. And every time that I plant a seed, he said kill it before it grows. He said kill it before it grows. I say, I shot the sheriff, but I swear it was in self-defense. I shot the sheriff, but I swear it was in self-defense. Freedom came my way one day, and I started out in town fair. All of a sudden I see Sheriff John Brown aiming to shoot me down. So I shot him down. I said, I shot the sheriff, but I did not shoot the deputy. I shot the sheriff, but I didn't shoot the deputy. Reflexes got the better of me, and what is to be must be. Every day the bucket goes to the well, but one day the bottom will drop out. Yes, one day the bottom will drop out. But I say, I shot the sheriff, but I didn't shoot the deputy. Oh no, I shot the sheriff, but I did not shoot no deputy. Oh no.
So that's the show for tonight. I want to thank Tom Semioli from KnowYourBassPlayer.com for coming by and talking about Eric Clapton's bass players. He's going to be back next week because we got a lot more to talk about. And thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you next week. Have a great week.